Hi Nitish, thank you so much for giving us your time today, and it was wonderful to actually catch up, and that too at such a momentous day of graduation day for SP Jain Management School. And so Nitish, to start with, I would like to first ask you, where are you landing to Sydney from? Were you in India or
I was
Singapore?
in Singapore, Saroni. Firstly,
Okay.
thanks for having me. And I've just flown in from Singapore.
Okay, and so we'll start with Nitish. Your work is so pioneering, and you've been described as a game changer in the space of education. So, what was your vision that originally inspired you to revolutionize education for everyone? And also, how does that legacy tie back to your grandfather, Padma Bhushan Shreyans Prasad Jain?
So, Saroni, we were started with a very simple philosophy way back in 2004. As business has gone global, business schools too should be global. So if you think back in the year 2004, the internet was making all businesses global businesses. So in the previous century, it was only the very large corporations like the McDonald's, the Coca-Colas, or the Citibanks that were global companies. But because of the internet, even a small garage in Bangalore became a global company because their customers were global. The people they had were sitting in all over the world. And therefore, we came up with this model that we should set up campuses in different countries. And to take that a little further, in the first 11 years, that means 2004 to 2015,
Okay.
we were already in 4 countries, which is somewhat of a world record because nobody set up 4 campuses in 11 years.
Yeah.
So,
And these were all like commercial capitals, I think. And so when you started, what year was that?
2004,
Four,
and we
okay.
started in Dubai.
Okay. And what was your sort of interaction, or what was that because it's named after your grandfather? So what was his vision, or how did that sort of transpire or inspire you to name it after him?
So, my grandfather, I'll use the word a legend. And he was a very astute businessman, he was a parliamentarian, but he also had a huge heart and he gave back a lot to other needy peoples. And because of that, he got the Padma Bhushan in India for philanthropy.
Right.
So when I was thinking of starting the school, I thought, why not name it after a person who I admired the most,
Yeah.
my grandfather. So
Amazing.
that's
And if you can share with our viewers any fond memories that you have with your grandfather or your parents, or any piece of advice that was given to you that kind of changed your.
yeah. So my grandfather was very focused on building relationships, and even till today, relationships is hugely connected with business.
Yeah.
So he came up with this simple, let's say, philosophy that your friends are your friends, but it's your enemies that you have to make your friends. And I think although it sounds simple, it's very difficult to practice because somebody can upset you very easily just by making some rude comment or something, and he becomes your enemy. But
Yeah.
he thinks the world is too short-lived to create enemies, and you must always take an extra effort to make friendship with everyone. So that was his guiding philosophy. And as a result, he became chairman of the Bombay Hospital, very well-reputed hospital in India. He was part of the managing committee of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Trust and many, many other social activities. So everyone loved him and put him on their boards.
And so you are a Mumbai guy? Is it? You're
I
a
am.
Mumbai boy?
I am a very much of a Mumbai boy. Yeah.
And do you miss Bombay? Do you go to Bombay often?
I
Or
go. I live in Bombay about 4 months in a year. My work takes me to the other 5 places where we have campuses, uh, but I try and go there once every 2 months. So even though it's short stays, but I definitely land up home for short stay every 2 months.
and this whole multi city learning model that you have, and such a huge, almost like an educational ecosystem that you have created. What were some of the challenges that you faced that would, that was like really like very intense for you to kind of overcome?
I think right in the beginning, Saroni, the challenge was to convince both parents and students that they should study in 2 or 3 countries because they were not used to it.
Right.
So therefore, they were always ask me, I want to study in Singapore, why should I go to Sydney or some other permutation and combination of what we are. So I had to convince them why going to more than one city actually increases your employment, it increases your skills, and it's very beneficial because we all work in global teams today. And there is no better way to learn about a global team than actually going to that country. So I think it was very much of a marketing in the early days, but also the other challenges were that every country has a different style of operating. Let me share with you in Sydney. A big issue we had in Sydney was getting the premises. Can you imagine? In any other country, it was one of the easy things to do. Except that in Australia, if we wanted to take a premises, they would ask you to do a fire assessment and traffic assessment, this, that, and the other, and a high tide assessment. That means flooding. And all of this would take them 12 months to clear you. And no landlord was willing to wait for us for 12 months. So it took us 3 full years to actually find premises.
Wow.
And, can you believe
This
it?
is
Yeah.
an incredible and unbelievable situation to be in. That you have everything, but you just can't secure
You can't secure
the
premises.
premises. Wow. And about the technology platform, the AI and the engaged learning online platform that you created, and it's something revolutionary. Was it in any way an inception to address COVID-19 situation, or was it before that you were almost thinking about it?
It was actually before COVID.
Okay.
COVID just happened to be a catalyst for us to grow the online technology. So we've always felt that we must use technology to enable and to assist education. And I think that many of the current universities are very conventional and they don't use technology. But any business is driven by technology. And education cannot be left far behind. So let me give you just 2 examples on how SP Jain has used technology. So we created something called engaged learning online. It's a new method to teach students who want online study. Now, online education has a stigma.
True.
The stigma is that it's not engaging. If I can go physically to a classroom, why would I go online? So I think it had that handicap.
And also for that, in terms of the stigma that you've mentioned, it was also something when I was a student that online education or online courses were considered as not to be valid or valued as much as a full-time
Absolutely.
course or like
Yeah.
an in-person physical course.
Correct. So the 2 are related because they felt it was not good in quality and therefore it wasn't valued and it was cheap It was, let's say many times recorded. It didn't really have the same quality. So we created this technology called engaged learning online, and it's a new style to learn where you could have even 70 students in one classroom, and the professor and the student can make eye contact with every student. Each student is full page, so it had 20 television screens.
Wow.
And so it was a very big format, unlike Zoom, which is in small format.
Yeah.
This is like a big format, and that completely changed the learning experience. So let me give you an example. You said it wasn't as valued. So we have a program called Executive MBA for mature students. They need to have 12 or more years work experience when they study. So when we started this, we had only 19 students willing to study online, because who knew online? Today, certainly we have 800 students who pay full fees to study online. There's no discounted fee they pay, because the quality of the learning they get is as good, or if I may even argue, better than actually going to a classroom. So I think that's one example of how you use technology to assist learning. The second, I think, is even more powerful. And for that, we've developed something called an AI tutor.
Okay.
Now, current classrooms are one-to-many. One professor teaches many students at the same time. But not all students are the same. Some learn quickly, some don't learn quickly, some come with background that enables to learn quantitative subjects easier, some don't. So, but they all sit in the same classroom, taught by the same professor at the same pace. Our AI tutor now customizes the learning one-on-one.
Okay.
So therefore, a student who needs more help gets more help, and students who need less get less. So it asks questions to students, and based on the replies, it adjusts the level.
Wow.
And we've been doing this now for 8 months. It's not brand new. And we can see there are huge improvements in students. We look at 3 ways in which we measure the outcomes of our AI tutor. The first is, are the students engaging better in the classroom? Are they more talkative? They are more engaged with the faculty? That's point number 1. Second, are the exam results better? So before this, they used to get certain marks. Now with this, they get much higher marks.
Improved. Yeah.
But the third is the best, because in a business school, students try to get jobs.
Yeah.
And previously, we had a ratio of what we call 4-for-1, which meant 4 interviews for 1 job on an average.
Okay.
That means a student had to sit for 4 interviews to get 1 job. Now it's dropped for 2-to-1.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that means only 2 interviews, 1 job. And that is very important,
It's a huge improvement.
because we just need half the companies, and these half the companies are the best companies. So I think overall the use of AI in education has given outstanding results to the school. Now this AI tutor, we are the only ones in the whole world to use it, Saroni. So you may think all schools use it. No.
Yeah.
There's no other school in the whole world, including the US ones, that
Okay.
use this. So none in Australia, the UK, and in the US.
Wow.
So SV Jain is the leader. Will others copy us? I'm sure they will, because the results are too good. But when they reach here, we would have already moved even further.
Further.
So, once you're taken the path of innovation, you can never stop. And we
And
have a
you have
wonderful
been,
team of people who do that. Sorry, go ahead.
That's amazing, actually. And thank you for saying that, because AI is a space which a lot of businesses are using, obviously, but also has its own sort of stigmas associated with it and all of those things. But I would also want to ask you certain things, like you have been instrumental in the Australia-India bilateral trade synergies, education and trade synergies space. So what was your sort of, what's your experience, and is there something that you want to share in terms of what's next for the institution, or what's next for Australia-India bilateral synergies?
Well, Australia and India want to partner each other for political reasons.
Okay.
Because both countries see a benefit in collaborating with each other, and I think that, of course, is a good thing, because I'm always for collaboration rather than competition. But when you look at synergy on the education front, I think they're very much apart.
Okay.
Because a lot of students from India actually want to come to Australia because of the jobs here, because of the lifestyle in Australia. There are not too many Australian students who want to study in India. So it's an uneven partnership, at least as of now.
At the moment.
It may change later, but as of now it's uneven.
Okay.
So I think, the collaboration is more political thing than in reality.
Okay. And in terms of, I mean, your pioneering work in philanthropy and social impact projects, if you could share a little about what's, we know a little bit about it in terms of the education and the healthcare that you have been sort of for the less privileged people. You have been sort of doing a lot of initiatives in that. So what would be your...
So I have philanthropy in my heart. Again, I'm inspired by my grandfather, who devoted a lot of his time to philanthropic activities. But more specifically, let's move to the field of education. So there are a lot of students who are underprivileged.
Yeah.
They don't have the money to pay fees to get proper faculty, or they may have some physical disabilities like eyesight or something else, and therefore they don't get high quality education. But using the AI tutor that I spoke to you before, we can help all these students at a fraction of the price, and also making it far more one-on-one to such students who really need the customized learning experience.
Okay.
So we have started off by adopting a municipality school in Mumbai.
Okay.
It's a school run by the government, and it's designed to help students who pay very low fees or no fees. So we're supporting this school by providing them the equipment, the technology, the training, and how we can help their students to learn just like students who go to a regular school. So I think we've started off in Mumbai just to pilot, but we would also be helping schools in Australia, in Singapore, in the UK. Many of these countries also have students who need the help,
absolutely.
and if we can help the students, we will certainly go out
Because
of our way to
people
do it.
with disability and even the indigenous communities, I think that's a support where we all need to kind of also focus on. And so what's next for SP Jain School of Global Management? Is there anything in the pipeline? I know it could be embargoed at the moment, but if there's anything you could share with our viewers.
I'll give a high-level perspective.
Sure.
The high-level perspective is how can we use technology more and more and even more. So I think I'm a very big believer that if you can create better technology to help students to learn better, then that will enhance the overall learning experience. I talked to you about the AI tutor but there are many, many more initiatives that are currently in the cooking pot. They're getting developed as we speak, and I can assure you that in 6 months we will be a completely different school using technology. I think the old style, which is actually the current style adopted by every other university, is ineffective.
Wow.
And we can absolutely develop a much superior model, and that would enable students to learn. To come back to my earlier example, if you needed 4 interviews to convert one job, and now you need only 2 interviews to convert one job, it's a huge attraction to students who would prefer to join SP Jain as compared to joining any of our competing schools.
And what would be your advice to future change makers? And we know that there is I have experienced it in real life when I'm working, or even in personal relationships. There is a wide divide or a different perspective between Gen Zs and the millennials. And so what would be your piece of advice on staying on relevant, purpose-driven and impactful in today's fast-evolving world? The people who are watching this would love to get some advice from you.
Well, the difference between a millennial and Gen Z is more in style than in substance, because finally all humans want the same sort of thing. They want to grow, they want to contribute, they want to achieve. That has not changed. It's only the style aspects that have changed. So I think, you need, but style is important, you need to adapt. So today's students don't want to be told what to do. So when you go to a current classroom, somebody's lecturing them. I mean, how bad is that, right? Who wants to be lectured? And how we can develop a different style where you learn on your own. You can decide what to study, when to study, but you get a first-class learning experience still. And I think that is one of the big reasons why our students have taken to it and have really leveraging the full benefits of the AI technology that we have given to them. It's not a shortcut. Many times you think AI is going to is a shortcut for me not to do it. In our case, it's all about moving up from level 2 to level 4, because the world has jobs that are shrinking, in a market of shrinking jobs. Many people don't talk about it because they avoid this question. But being in it, I know that many companies that were hiring are saying we don't have positions anymore.
Yeah.
But they're still hiring, fewer. They're hiring but shrinking. They are looking for better quality of people, more knowledge, more talent, more skills. And how we are preparing students to the next level.
Yeah, because when you say that jobs are shrinking or the job market is shrinking, and instead of maybe, if you can please correct me if I'm understanding this right, that in terms of when we say job market is shrinking, are we saying that instead of hiring 4 managers like before, we're hiring 1?
Yeah.
With multiple skills.
Yes.
Is that
yes.
what?
Yeah,
what's
automation. It is computers are doing a lot of the heavy lifting that humans used to do before.
Yeah.
So I think some industries are losing more. Some industries are not losing as many.
Okay.
For example, a chef is not getting out of fashion anytime soon. He's still able to go out, get a good meal, and but there are many other jobs, office jobs, that can be done by a computer.
Yeah.
So if you look at some very famous, very famous Ivy League schools in the US, 30 to 40% of their graduates didn't get jobs 4 months after graduating.
Wow.
So I think we have to be realistic about this. So instead of just sitting back and crying about this, what we have done is saying, how could we prepare students at a higher level? Which, if you get personalized learning
Yeah.
and you get inputs on whatever questions you may have at a real time, you get graded real time, not after a whole month, the learning experience is completely changed. And that is enabling our graduating students to be of a much higher quality compared to those that are graduating from schools that have not adopted this new technology. So I think technology is completely a game changer.
Yeah.
You called me a game changer when we started this
Yes.
interview,
Yes.
but I take my job very seriously, and I think it's my job to ensure that my students get the very best learning experience, and I think we are succeeding to a large extent.
Amazing. Is there a favorite spot that you have in Sydney? A favorite restaurant, cafe, or something that you don't want to miss whenever you're in Sydney?
Yeah, I mean, there are many favorite
Or a
restaurants
beach
I have.
or something?
I just love to, frankly, see the Sydney Harbour Bridge, which I can watch the whole day. I don't know what's so great or what's so magical about the bridge.
I think it's the Mumbai vibe as well, the ocean, the sea, and the water around.
It's just
So I think you
magical.
can just
So there is a
Yeah,
restaurant that overlooks the bridge called Sydney Cafe,
Okay.
which I love to go to. Every time I'm here, I definitely have to go there to see the view. I
exactly.
mean, the food is great, but I go there for the view.
Like I
And-
always say that I'll never get bored of looking at the Sydney Opera House or
Same.
that harbour bridge
Yeah.
and that whole view. And during COVID, when we were all like quarantined and like isolated and we couldn't, borders were kind of there was restriction on traveling. So I said that I can actually live in New South Wales forever. I don't. New South Wales is so big. There are actually there are flights domestically in New South Wales, and we have to Byron Bay or any of these beautiful places, and the beaches of Australia, beaches of Sydney. It's just so beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Right. And so, thank you so much, Nitish, for this conversation. And you also get to ask me any questions if you feel like. So, yeah.
No, thanks for that, Saroni. I will take you up on that. And I think, I heard that you were stricken by cancer, but look at you now. I mean, you're full of energy, full of wanting to do things. So you're not a victim of this horrid disease, and you are, in fact, the survivor. Tell me about this.
I think I gave, it was, yes, it was a big shock to me when I was diagnosed. And then I didn't really give myself too much choice at that time, but I took that pause, and it was the first time I started working when I was 19 years old, actually. Because I was like, I don't want to take money from my dad anymore after my graduation, and I told him that you don't have to pay for my postgrads or anything. I will pay for my own tuition fees, and I don't really know what I'm going to do, but then let's see how we go. So I started working at a very early age, and when I was 15 years old in school, since then I've been writing for Hindustan Times and different newspapers. So I was always a writer and journalist and media professional, all of that. So before cancer, I had not really taken a break ever. I was working non-stop, paying bills, living by myself, very financially independent and all of that. And Bombay is a fast-paced life, and media is also very fast-paced kind of an industry. So I was working 12 hours, 13 hours, whatever, so it kind of, for the first time at that time when I was home and almost not, my health was not on my side, it taught me that I have ignored and neglected my health. It has taken a toll on me, and it's high time for me to kind of take that seriously and prioritize that. So I started focusing on my recovery in terms of physically, emotionally, and mentally and spiritually. It gave me
Okay.
my pathway to spiritual journey, which was my rescue, which was my SOS. My spiritual journey and my spiritual path was my rescue actually, and that kind of led me from one thing to another. In spite of all the challenges I faced here in Sydney, when I was landed here, I lived in a garage converted into a room with 10 strangers, and didn't get a job in media, PR. All the doors were shutting down, and I applied for more than 900 plus jobs here, unpaid internships, everything. But I didn't have a network, I didn't have family support, I didn't have any of that, anyone to guide me or mentor me. So yeah, and I was determined to compensate and make up for all the lost 5 years or whatever that I took for slowed down my, health wise, I slowed down and all of that, and converted into kind of something. And I just started saying yes to every opportunity. I stopped thinking about what and how people perceive me, societal norms, conforming to the society. And yeah, I just said that I want to do things that make me happy, and I want to feel that satisfaction. And that's where I landed in film schools, acting, modeling. I also registered my own not-for-profit during COVID. I was working with different organizations before that, United Nations and other councils here and everything. Even back in India, I did a lot of philanthropic work. But yeah, that became my sacred purpose and sort of my healing mechanism. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome, Saroni. Incredible.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank
to
you so
see you
much.
now, who would imagine, at least I would not imagine, that you had these hardships before you've become the successful person that you are now. So, congratulations on all of that. I'll ask you one other
you.
question,
Yes, okay.
which is you used to live in India.
Yeah.
I think you said Mumbai earlier. And suddenly you came to Australia and you said you didn't know anyone, you
Yeah.
didn't have much money,
Yeah.
and so on. So, how come you took this brave step to just go to a whole new country?
Yes. I was looking for places where I could get a visa for, and I had a couple of countries. I went to an agency, a migration agent, and I said that which country or which city can I get a visa for? And yes, it was a very, very bold decision, and a lot of family or extended family. My parents were very much in favor of it because they know me and how brave I am, and because I've lived by myself since I was 17 years old, in Bombay and everything. So they knew that she can survive any terrain. So I got the visa for Sydney, for New South Wales, and I said that I've been through a lot in my life and so much trauma and everything. So I don't think Sydney will be worse than that. And I can survive on bread, butter, like bun maska, chai, and whatever I get. And I've lived in student hostels and everything. So yeah, that was my thing. And I did not have any expectations from this country or anyone for that matter, that I will have to do a whatever senior manager position here when I land.
Sure.
I was ready to do
Whatever.
a cafe job, or if my body permits,
Sure.
physically if I'm able to endure that, but a call center or market research or anything, you give me anything, I just need a foot in the door. And I was ready to I was always been very flexible and adaptable to situations.
And resilient.
Yes.
I think that's the one word.
Yes.
I mean, you were resilient and you were saying, fine, give it to me. I'll manage.
I actually, when I did not get a job in media and PR, I said to myself that today you are not hiring me as a writer, editor for your magazine, or you're not giving me a job here. Tomorrow you are going to write about me.
Oh, wow. 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 That is a really bold big
A bit
thought.
of a revengeful
And
person.
well, I would say confident. I'll use different words. I'll say confident, self-assured, and you did it.
Yeah,
So,
and when I got into the Miss India Australia beauty pageant and I won the Goodwill Ambassador title and everything, so I knew the PR industry. I was a PR professional. I had clients like Google, HP, Visa, Microsoft, and all these tech giants, and ITC, and then I was a media professional as well. So for me, it was like, okay, if I could do it for any other company, PR for any other company, why can I not do it for myself? So I started doing my PR. I started representing myself and started getting the word out there.
and instead
The
of
visibility.
modeling, I'll use the word role modeling. So you were doing
Thank you.
role modeling, and you did a tremendous job. So honestly, if you hadn't told me all your background, it would have been very difficult for me to say that's where you've come from, because I see the picture, the success story that you are today, and that kind of blinds me to saying what got you here. And so, well done. I mean, I
Thank
can
you.
ask you many more questions,
Yes,
but I think
Vishal
I think we should.
Vishal has
end up,
already
yeah.
done this
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. So let's end this
So,
here.
yes,
But thank you. It was
you.
lovely, lovely, lovely talking to you, Saroni.
Thank
It
you,
was
Nitish.
really a pleasure.
So thank you so much, Nitish, for giving us your time. It was a true honor and privilege for me to actually have this conversation with you, a heart-to-heart conversation. So thank you so much for this.